Thank you for your statement. I give the floor to the representative of Indonesia.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. President. First, to thank you for organizing this important meeting, which is quite timely, and also to thank USG Rosemary DiCarlo, my sister, Ambassador Fatima, as well as the ASG Abulai from UNDP. We, Indonesia, remains deeply concerned with the ongoing attacks and expansion of terrorist-related groups across Africa, which has caused many casualties of innocent civilians and victims. Now, from the recent reports, related report of the Secretary General, attack by terrorist-related group has been increasing both in number and in sophistication. Many has alluded to this important fact. We also would like to concur with what USG Rosemary mentioned, particularly on the point that we cannot address terrorism without addressing the underlying or root causes, underlying factors, among others, development, humanitarian, human rights, and security challenges. I think this is quite an important point. Now, Indonesia commends the efforts of African countries in combating terrorism, including through initiatives such as G5 Sahel Joint Force and Multinational Joint Task Force, as well as other initiatives. We feel that such effort must continue to be supported. And therefore, we are also pleased on the adoption of the PRST earlier today. Now, having said that, allow me to share 3 points. First, there is no one-size-fits-all approach in combating terrorism. Each country and each region face different challenges with regard to terrorism. They also have different capacities and priorities, and thus the need for assistance in different ways also. It is important to take into account the specificities in each region in designing counter-terrorism approaches. Similarly, the nexus between transnational organized crime and terrorism also often have unique characteristics in each and every region. Thus, it should be addressed through tailor-made measures and in accordance with applicable international law. It is also important to give our support to Africa's effort in combating terrorism and violent extremism conducive to terrorism as elaborated in the UN GCTS. Secondly, enhancing regional cooperation. It is important to advance regional dialogue, to share best practices and expertise, and to learn from each other's experiences in combating terrorism. In addition, we need to facilitate collaboration to strengthen the capacity of African countries in addressing common and pressing challenges. One of such challenges is the relocation and returning of foreign terrorist fighters, relocators, returnees, including their accompanying family members, which present significant challenges to member states. It is important to ensure adequate national and regional capacities in terms of prosecution, rehabilitation, and reintegration. In this regard, as mandated by Resolution 2178 of 2014 and 2396 of 2017, it is crucially important for member states to develop and implement comprehensive and tailored PRR strategies, not only for the FTF, but most importantly for homegrown terrorism. It is also important for countries in the region to be supported in the initiative of silencing the guns in Africa, to ensure lasting stability and development as envisioned in the Agenda 2063. Third point, promoting soft approach to counterterrorism, in addition to other approaches. Apart from law enforcement, we need to continue promoting soft approach in preventing and countering terrorism and have a comprehensive approach. This can be done inter alia by spreading the message of peace, moderation, and tolerance, to turn back negativity and at the same time amplifying credible positivity, and also to enhance the involvement of religious and community leaders, women and youth to combat terrorism. It is also equally important to limit the environment in which terrorist groups could operate and address the underlying grievances that can be exploited by terrorist groups. Mr. President, preventing and combating terrorism is one of our priorities as the non-permanent member of the Security Council. We are also at the forefront in promoting tolerance and an integrated approach in combating terrorism and extremism in line with 4 pillars of the global counter-terrorism strategy. To conclude, all countries in Africa, supported by the international community, should work together in advancing integrated and coordinated strategies to counter terrorism to reach the goal of a peaceful, stable, and prosperous Africa. The international community should lend its utmost support, including in development assistance as well as humanitarian, so that terrorists do not have excuse to exploit gaps in development. Indonesia is in solidarity with the people of Africa and will continue its support of Africa through various initiatives and projects. I thank you, Mr. President.
谢谢。
I thank you for your statement. That concludes the speaking list of Council members.